Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the channel where today we continue our biannual tradition of talking about Lego. You know, that's what we do here on the channel. It is a Lego channel after all, and we have a brand new release season coming up on January 1st, and I want to talk about them because that is my primary interest, not all the Zelda stuff that I seem to put out. But yeah, we're going to go over some of the most interesting and underrated of the new sets, trying to put a little bit of a positive spin about it. If there's something I don't like, I don't talk about it. And yeah, this made it really hard this year because it's not my favorite January wave of all time, but nonetheless, there's still some very talented people that have put some hard work into it. So let's talk about them wherever I can. And this will include some sets that released in November, December of 2024, just because I haven't had the chance to talk about them, and some of them are so very, very good. And speaking of which, we're starting off the list talking about the Endurance, which is already on your shelves, so I'm already lying to you. But that's why it's the winter of 2024-2025. Yeah, so I really like this model. Now, for those of you who don't know, I really enjoyed the Titanic, specifically because of its length and scale, but also my connection to it. And the Endurance is not something I have that particular of a strong connection to. I never learnt about it, although it is now part of the curriculum. And yeah, I just think they did a really good job at the shaping of this model. Not quite as refined, I feel, just because of the different scale, but still something that would look absolutely amazing on a shelf and something I may consider picking up one day. I also really like the building techniques on display with this one and the fact that they have got that classic rigging. I was sort of not worried, but sort of wouldn't have been interested if Pirates had come back just with big playset pirate ships. So the fact that they chose something different and something with a bit of history behind it, such as the Endurance and its Antarctic expedition, was a lot of fun to me. And I also really like the gift of purchase that goes with it. Like when this rumor first started, it already caught my attention, which is something that's usually a good sign, although sometimes it can go wrong. Yeah, and it's just something I enjoyed all the way through its leak and reveal and into its build. So hopefully one day it might sit alongside my Titanic, although really not a priority for me. Something that will be a priority though, however, is this year's modular. That's right, it's the 2025 modular, and I am British, and it is a Tudor corner, so I love it. Yeah, it's great. Now, a lot of concerns have been levied at this one for being too different or maybe not fitting in as well, but I really don't think this is the first time we can say this about a modular, specifically given the past history with the downtown diner, corner garage, everyone's least favorite, and then I think even more recently, to be honest, I have trouble with the boutique hotel. And to some extent, the bookshop. I usually end up splitting the bookshop up, which I guess is the point. But yeah, there are lots of modulars that don't particularly fit well with others. And I think the Tudor corner actually fits incredibly well with some of them. Specifically, I'm looking forward to putting this next to Museum, which I am still yet to pick up, like we will talk about later. And I think, to be honest, the police station, I just really like how it blends in. I like the asymmetry. It's the same reason I love the boutique hotel. I do wish that the sort of cutaway with this staircase on the right was maybe on the left, even was on the other side, just so we had more variety, although then it would match the Parisian, but it would look weird to have it and the boutique being the last two corners and neither of them take up the full base plate, which yes makes it more interesting, but part of me does hope that the next corner does use the full base plate, because we'll be going back to what corner garage, and even that was asymmetrical, and brickbank was asymmetrical. So I would really like a corner building that sort of fills the whole plate for once. That'd be nice to see in 3 years' time. But what we've actually got is amazing. Of course, everyone's talking about the Tudor architecture style at the top, but where I really love it is the green brick pub, which is something that we see all around here in the UK. Yes, it's an inn. I like that they got around to it. I was personally behind the chippy rumour. I still think they could have put a chippy where the haberdashery is. For those of you who watched my last modular video where I went through my designs, you'll know that chippy would be something I'd actually love to see. But what really gets me here is that dark red and dark green. It's just so fabulous. I really love it, and it does really strike me as the exteriors I've seen are out and around on the town. So I really like that. The Clockmaker's Workshop is a cute idea. The apartment I think could have been something different, but oh well, I guess we need places for people to live. I'm not opposed to that, although I do think there are other options they could have put up there. Maybe a historical apartment would have been like, they could have argued that it was like William Shakespeare or Brickspear or whatever you want to go for, and had like a fun roped off area, so kind of like a museum, but one of those like historical famous person's houses. I think that would have been fun, especially given like the Tudor styling, and perhaps it could have been a callback to like a Lego King or someone important from a CMF series. That would have been a lot of fun. But apartment's still fine. I just think it could have been an apartment that that kids could play with, but also could have had a different tail to it. Anyway, I love it a lot. It's definitely on the list. I will get it before it retires, like most modulars that I end up liking. I'm just fighting it out between Jazz Club and the Natural History Museum. But anyway, you're here to talk about new sets. That's one of the big ones. And to be honest, I'm so glad I delayed this video back a couple of weeks so that I can talk about the Renegade. And actually, I get to insert this segment because I'd had this video finished, but now, of course, they've officially revealed the Renegade, so just scratch anything Octane previously said. I love Blacktron 1, and getting a remake of the Renegade is so, so cool. Now, I will admit that the Renegade as a ship design is not my favourite. I do prefer the Invader and the Alienator. Don't worry, I know. We'll talk about Alienator in a second. So the gift with purchase a lot in 2022. I love the remastered, or I'm going to call them Reduxes, like I did with Ice Planet. The Redux Blacktron Hunter in Series 19 that ended up being like a bounty hunter. I really love that extra bit of lore for them, and I'm so excited to have a Renegade to go off against the Galaxy Explorer and with the Invader. It's going to be like a proper little fleet. I love Classic Space Redux in general, but Blacktron is my favourite faction, specifically Blacktron 1. I don't like Blacktron 2 at all. So to have this massive scale ship of the Renegade, even though it's not my favourite vehicle, and for it to be asymmetrical and look so fabulous and have all these extra play features is truly wonderful. The Galaxy Explorer is just a better set, and I do love my Rainbow Spaceman and of course my Ice Planet, and I would love to get a Redux Ice Planet ship eventually, but I can wait on that. But then what really sold me, because I wasn't 100% convinced by the design of this one, I was still going to buy it anyway because Blacktron 1 and also more of those Blacktron figures. But what really convinced me was not only the drop feature, but also the rearrangeability and then the B model. I love that Alienator. It looks so good. I can't wait to have that on my shelf, and I'm going to try both models, which is something I said about the Galaxy Explorer, and then I bought it and only ever built the A model. I will do B and C eventually. I just need to actually have it around. But yep, the Renegade is the first set that I'll be picking up in January. Whenever I make it to the store early January, I will be buying the Renegade as soon as possible. I'm looking forward to hopefully 2025 also having a new color Spaceman too in that Ideas prize machine, which is something else I'm looking forward to. Okay, let's do it early this time. Let's do the botanical break. I know some of you aren't interested, so skip ahead if you want to hear about my other thoughts. But we have the Wreath and Poinsettia, the two Christmas themed sets. I did a community post a while back saying what I wished. Poinsettia was on there. I think this was a perfect one for Christmas, and I absolutely love how it looks. I didn't pick it up for this season, but both it and the wreath I will try and pick up in late autumn next year so that I can have them for the December season, and they look fantastic. That wreath is amazing. Now, the price is a little sharp, I will admit. Oh, I don't like that price, but the cinnamon sticks and the oranges look perfect, and I've done wreaths for ages myself. So I did a brickbat one back in 2018, and then of course I have the small one, and I thought I'm good, I'm settled, and then they just made it look so good. So I've kind of just settled on the idea that I'll never buy a real wreath, and that will just be my wreath for life. And I will rebuild it each year, even though it's going to be a really repetitive build. I just like 20% off, so hopefully I'll be able to get 20% off around this time next year, a little bit earlier, because I'm really looking forward to running that one. And then the Poinsettia is just perfect. Yeah, it's sort of a mid-range build, but I just think it's such an iconic Christmas flower that it just had to be here, and I really love the fact that they did do it, one, and two, that it was executed well. Another botanical sub-theme that we haven't talked about yet on the channel, or at least if we have, I don't remember it, is the Four Gentlemen collection. This has become sort of a micro niche obsession for me, where I've really gotten into them, but also into their symbology and stuff, which is really cool as well. So, of course, we had the Chrysanthemum, which I bought and liked, and then I got the Plum Blossom off 20% after I saw a load of reviews say it was slightly weaker than the others. However, when I get it, it looks just as stunning, and I love the blue and the green pot. And then in that community post that I posted around the time I got my Chrysanth, I said what pot colours I wanted and what I wanted the flowers to look like. And I was wrong on pretty much every account, I think it was. I don't think I got any of the pot colours right, apart from maybe Dark Tan. But both the bamboo and the mini orchid look great. Now, obviously, we've had an orchid before, so the mini orchid was always going to be at a disadvantage. So these two are definitely weaker than the first two, being the Chrysanthemum Plum Blossom. But the design and how they work together just looks phenomenal. So I'm never going to complain about having a second orchid. I love that first orchid set. It's my favorite botanical line, although this Four Gentlemen collection has really been stunning. I've loved them being, one, small and cheap, but two, all having pots that all fit and cohesive. But then obviously this symbology of having one per season is going to be lovely to build one each quarter of the year, which is so fun. I will pick up the bamboo on 20% off. I will buy the mini orchid at full price. I think, or maybe I'll just wait for both for 20% off. I'm on the edge. Like, I'm tempted to buy them both on January 1st with the Renegade, but also I know that they'll go down to like £20 instead of 25 with it fairly quickly. And I think I can wait that long because, you know, it's not spring yet. I can still have my plum blossom up. But I adore this collection. One of my favorite things to come out in 2024 and then 2025. And I think they're so spectacularly done. And these two were done by Wes again, so that's another plus. Anything he designs is great. And of course, I just think the bamboo was always going to be a challenge. And while it looks a little bit wonky on its own, when you put it next to the other three, it's great. And also, I really love the pot on that one with the stones. Anyway, I'll stop talking about them, but I love them. I think they're really, really special, and I'm so glad that we got this little sub collection. I think they're so perfect for desks. In fact, they've always been on my desks, and they've actually featured in community posts as well. So it's great. I do have issues though with the bigger botanicals this year, being the pretty pink bouquet, and then I'm struggling on the name of the other one. It's the Centerpiece Arranger. I like the Centerpiece Arranger in concept, however I just can't stomach that price. It's just too much for me. However, the flower designs are great, and the rearrangeability aspect is perfect with having like that flower foam design build. That's really great. So fantastic set. I just need it to be like 40% off, and also it just doesn't really fit my vibe, I don't think, which is fine. Not everything does, so I'm glad that the botanicals are continuing to diversify. One thing I'm not too thrilled with botanicals doing is their creation of new and exclusive parts. It was all right when it was the ferns because that was designed for like minifigures, and obviously it's great when they use recolors of existing parts. That was part of what added to the fun of the building techniques and the clever thing. But they've realized that there are certain shapes they can't get. Fair enough. But then they've made like 3 new molds. I mean, the sunflower I can accept because, again, play scale, although I argue we just don't need it. Dishes were working fine. Like, yes, this is more detailed, but I don't know. I rail against sometimes this direction away from classic pieces, although those of you that have heard me talk on the live streams know that quite often I rail against new pieces and then they end up being super useful, and I have to take my words back, so maybe that will happen again. But the piece I really don't like is this new large leaf piece that's being used on the orchid in the pink flower bouquet, and I think it's being used as leaves elsewhere as well. I just don't like it. It looks too prefabby. It doesn't feel Lego-y to me. I don't know. We could have just made do with worse shapes, I feel. I just don't. I'm not connecting with it at all. But anyway, this is supposed to be a positive one. So the last botanical set to talk about, and then we will get back to the rest of the Lego, is the field flower polybag. So glad to have this. I think this is going to be so much fun to have a couple of. Here's the clever building technique using Technic gears and these little, they're not teacup pieces, are they? They're little saucers for the airheads on the dandelion. And it's just so sweet. Yeah, what a simple little polybag. It's a shame this one will probably be really hard to find for some reason and won't show up in the first HY polybag selection from 2025. But anyway, I can't wait to have it. It's going to be a great one to add to the collection. I don't know what I'm going to do with it because it is a very silly thing to display, but I guess you mix it in with the bouquets or whatever. I would like to get 2 or 3. But we're done with botanicals now. I'm loving the 4 gentlemen, and the bigger ones are still great, but just not for me this year, which is great. We're saving budget. But once again, this is a trend we're going to notice that outside of Renegade and the modular, which are kind of just exceptions to the rule, most 2025 sets I'm interested in are the smaller ones. We've also then got some Minecraft stuff. This is another theme which I have a little attachment to. Obviously, I play the game occasionally, semi-often, but there are a couple of builds that I love, and I do love the simplicity, but mostly I'm here for the mobs. Starting off with the 2025 stuff, we've got the Nether Lava Battle, which again, I love these £10 sets. I wasn't a huge fan of the llama one last year, or the camel one, I should say, just because I wasn't a huge fan of the camel mob in general. But this one going back to the Nether and giving me some certain things I've missed out on. I've been trying to get a Wither Skeleton off Bricklink for ages, and I'm just not willing to pay £4. So here I can pay 10 and get this £4 mob here, but also this other stuff, including this mini Nether Fortress build, which actually has a play feature. Unnecessary, but let's be honest, it's bonus points. I do already have a Strider, but I won't say no to a second one. They're a lot of fun, and I do like that little wiggly feature. And then having the Blaze as well, which is another mob I've been trying to find off Bricklink, all in the same thing, and then with an Alex is whatever, but at least it's a new face print. I just really like this as a battle pack. It's great. Speaking of battle packs, another one that is on my must-have list is the Illager Patrol. This one falls into the same camp as the Iron Man battle pack from last summer, which I also really want to get with the Iron Legion, but I had to wait for that to be on sale. This one, although it's already £5 cheaper at 15, I will also wait to go on sale until 12 just to make me feel better, because the build here is kind of atrocious. Like, I get it, it's a player-based build, it's not rubbish for what it is, it just looks incredibly ugly and I really don't care about it. So if I'm literally just buying this set for 3 figures, that being the Illagers, who again I've wanted since that 2020 Ravager set, that I still kind of want to pick up. I want these designs, it's nice and cheap. I'm really glad they've finally done something like this, and I feel like we should have more of this for villain mobs in a sense. That's why the skeleton dungeon was so great, for having 3 skeletons for 25 plus that amazing spawner room. Still a fantastic set. But yeah, this is great. Another perfect small set. Those two will definitely be going into the quick pickup section every time I do a weekly shop. Not every week. I mean, like every time I'm feeling like a buy on the weekly shop, that will be one that goes in because they're nice and cheap. The mushroom house is also fantastic. Great. Sorry, the mushroom house. I love mushroom. I have the mushroom, the moo bloom, and the normal cow, so I can't wait to add brown mushroom to my Minecraft cow collection, which is a weird thing that I have. But also, I remember seeing a moo bloom house on Rebrickable back in gotta be 2021, whenever the pig house came out, and that is a build I've been trying to do or wanting to do in real life for years at this point. So to have an official mushroom one will be a lot of fun. And then when I get my moo bloom, we can compare them next to each other. I do wish there was a little bit more detail. It goes well with a lot of these houses here. I really like getting the frogs in the frog house, but that set is brutal for 50, and this one feels slightly better at 49.99. But again, it's going to be a sale pickup because it's just really hard to justify when it's very much a empty space play box. But with the Minecraft theme, it's a little difficult. There's not even an explosion feature here, which is a little rough. Having the Phantom will be nice for me. I realize no one likes them, but I would like to be able to buy one. And yeah, that brown mushroom really is the steal of the show. And just to get more mushrooms as well. There's also a trial chamber coming up, which I think is worth talking about because it's a nice and open playset concept. It feels really fresh, not just because obviously it's new content and the color scheme, but in the way it's designed. I really like it as a playset, and it takes me back to obviously a lot of the design work we do in the CSS, which takes a lot of inspiration from early 2010s. I just really like its vibes. Not something I'll probably pick up, but I do really like it a lot. Then from this year, we had the crafting table. It's an 18 plus set that I thought I didn't care about, but no, I have a soft spot for the game and I would like to display this. Again, it's something I want on sale because it's micro scale. Now, I don't think this is a problem with the set. I think the set's price is incredibly fair. It's just me. I don't want to pay 70 for a micro scale build, so I'll wait for it to go on 20-30% and then I'll pick it up myself. I've also still got the end ship to pick up from last year, which again, I'm really excited for. End Dragon, Shulker, or my first Shulker. I know they've come in sets before, Enderman, and then of course the ship as well. It's going to be great. I'm looking forward to that set a lot. Very soon, I think, probably. And then Baby Pig's birthday is also very sweet. Not one I'll pick up because again, I've got to have priorities, but I do think it's very cute, and I'm glad they did something to celebrate the 15 years. But let's move on to another theme, specifically Creator 3-in-1. I want to start with the 3-in-1 spider because is this reminding anybody else of the spider that sits above the teacups at Legoland? No, just me. A lot of people are calling this a remake of the 2008 creatures set, which was a spider and then a cobra and then a fly, I want to say, or like large insect. That's a fantastic set. One of my earliest creator sets, so something I have a lot of nostalgia for, which usually means I won't pick this one up, but I just love it as the Legoland spider, and I think that main build is really great. Now, I do think it's too small and it's a little in places, but I really love the color scheme. It looks really cohesive. Do I need another giant spider? No, but I do like the string piece, and it reminds me of not only a classic set, but the ride at Legoland. So I'll take it. I really like it. The one I do like a lot as well, but also probably won't pick up though, is the dragon. Oh, this thing looks fantastic. Okay, before we go any further though, I have to point out that its wings are just a Hylian crest. Just take it as you will. If you're making a Hylian shield, buy this dragon, take its wings, stick them on there. You've got your Loftwing emblem. But no, I really love the dragon. It's a medieval fantasy one. It looks so great. All the texturing's been done wonderfully. I, though, bought the Auspicious Dragon for the Chinese New Year set for 2024, and I loved that a lot, and I really like it as a display piece, but it does make me think I just don't need another large-scale dragon, although maybe I do, and then this will be my last large-scale dragon, because unless it's IP-themed or like a Smorg or a Toothless or something, like I've already got an Eastern styled, I've got plenty of smaller ones like Hungarian Horntail, which is also a fantastic model, but this is, I suppose, the Western interpretation of a dragon, which makes it unique. But I'm not sure it's burnout so much as just really you're gonna buy another dragon. You see what I mean? It just feels a little repetitive. That's why a lot of these things don't make lists. But I do absolutely love this one, so I'd like to own it, I think, because it just looks cool, and I like dragons. Another set, though, is the Flamingo. This one is just well designed. I just really like it. I won't buy it the same as I thought I was going to buy the Peacock and the Giraffe from this year's Creator 3-in-1. But then I didn't. So the dragon will probably fall into that gap. The flamingo isn't a buy for me, but looks amazing. Just again, they've gotten so good with their animals. I do wish they would diversify just a little bit for 3-in-1 though. And then that spider, I will definitely be buying that spider. Speaking of creatures though, we have a Disney set on here, and this is Hey Hey. Think of what you will of Moana 2, but this is just a great creature build that they've done a really great job with, as well as that I hope it does well, so that we see more larger or mid-range, I think actually mid-range rather than larger, Disney creature builds. There are so many characters, that would work for this. And Hey Hey also has been sculpted incredibly well. I particularly like how the eyes have been done. I just think it's just well executed and a logical choice for a set. So I hope we see more, not just in Disney, but coming into other themes. Obviously, Harry Potter's been doing this for an eon. Keep it up, Star Wars. I hear you, that K2SO rumor for the summer. I will be on that like a hawk. You give me K2SO and I will buy K2SO. But then also other themes. If we see more Zelda sets, I'm going to want buildable stuff. If we see more Mario stuff, I'm going to want buildable stuff. Basically, any theme, there is always something that works for this. So I really hope these continue to do well, and that the fabulous design work that's been done on stuff like Hey Hey continues across. As for City, we don't have too much to talk about today. We have the donut truck. A little worried about this one because it does look a little 4+y, even though it's 5+. Again, it's just the trend of 5+ builds feeling more like 4+ builds. The ice cream truck from 2022 was just so much a better example of this. Although the color scheme here is what saves it, to the point where I'll probably still buy it because 1, I like my food trucks, 2, it has the giant donut on the top, 3, I'm sure the interior is fine, and then 4, it works, it functions. I just don't like how that base looks, but it's fine. We move on. The donut looks great on the top. It's another food truck that we needed. Would I prefer a little bit more detail or fidelity? Yes. But does this line up with City's new track record? Yes. City has come such a long way since 2022. It's such a theme that continues to hurt my heart, but that 2022 wave that lives on within me. Sardine factory, ice cream truck, just the best criminals. Oh, what a wave. Okay, also this year though, we have the Floor Plus tractor, which suffers from the opposite problem as the donut truck and doesn't look like a full plus set. But let's be honest, I'm here for the sheep. I will buy this for the sheep. I'm yet to get my hand on those sheep molds, and I want one. So I'm a little disappointed it doesn't include the wool piece, but okay, it's fine. I will buy this tractor. I don't have a tractor. I like the look of this one. I didn't know it was a 4+ set before we saw the box art, which is a compliment. And then we also have the soap boxes, which are not ones I'm going to buy, but I've also not seen anyone talking about them, which is a shame because it's fantastic. What a neat little concept. I thought this would have been way too niche for City, but I suppose it does just fill the void of stunts very nicely in just a new form. But also you've got some fun ideas here, such as the pizza versus the fire truck, and of course the stunts hill, which looks a little dramatic and I'm sure is incredibly overpriced, but I think the concept is cute. It makes a lot of sense as a follow-on from stunts and also just works really well in the City scheme of things. I just thought it would have been too neat, but I suppose it fits the F1 and Red Bull obviously being a sponsor of the soapbox, which it will never be not funny to me that the Red Bull F1 cars have to be branded 18+. That is just one of the best marketing things of all time. Yeah, unquestionably. I also want to draw attention to the vehicle combiner set from City this year. Again, another one that's probably just got a load of eye rolls and flack from the community, but I actually think this is really fun and creative for kids. Not something for me, as I think there's not enough interior play space, but it is a really sweet idea to have these 3 emergencies vehicles that you can just then combine and rearrange. It's silly, but it's what Lego's for, so I really, really like that as well. And it will get all the praise from me. For minifigures, though, it looks like I'm going to have a silent year, which I'm glad about because my way I display my figures, which I will have to show you guys on the channel one day using my frames, is filling up fast, and I've only got about 35 slots left for CMFs, largely thanks to the Space series and me loving that series, and then the D&D series being good. 2025, I brought a lot of figures in 2024, but 2025 were fine because with the Rumored F1 series and Spider-Verse series, I'm probably going to buy one from each, and that will be it, unless there's a good Spider-Verse figure that I'm not expecting. But the movie was just okay, as far as I know. I know I'm going to commit crime there. Series 27, the generic series, these ones have been struggling in recent years. Series 25, sorry, from the beginning of 2024. I hate that the numbering doesn't line up anymore. Was okay. There was quite a few in there I liked, and I also liked Series 23 and some of Series 24, but Series 27 continues that trend of going back to like Series 20, Series 21, Series 22, where there are less figures in there that I like and less that I find interesting, and a lot more generic stuff that doesn't really suit my collection. There's a couple here. There's the Bogeyman and the Steampunk Inventor. I'll also probably pick up the Pterodactyl fan just because I have the other 2 dinosaurs. But beyond that, it's looking like it's going to be 5 figures this year. 3 from Series 27, and then 2 for 1 each from the other series, is just to say I have 1 from every series past a certain point, because I didn't do that in the early days. From Dreams, I want to draw attention to the action racing car. I've already talked about this on the community tab, but first thing to note is that Z-Blob piece is perfect for Zols. I will be buying it and using it for Zols, but I won't be buying this set. In fact, I'm not a huge fan of this game wave for Dreams. I think it's a bit of a miss, but I do like the colour scheme on this car because it's so extra with all these neon colours and transparent greens. I think the curvature has been done really well. scale. I think somehow they've managed to make this vomit of a color scheme work, which is really, really impressive. And it is neon. I bet it's a lot of fun for kids, but I'm not a huge fan of this subwave. I love the nightmare stuff a lot. This isn't doing it for me. From Star Wars, we have a couple. We have the Grogu with Pram. This is just well executed. I want to draw attention to the Pram because this is like the largest mock sphere we've ever had. And it looks fantastic. I love, this needs to be a lesson for anyone that's building spheres, whether that be Majora's Mask Moon or just anything that requires sphere. If you need large sphere, this is how you do it. That being said, it takes up, what, 60 quid's budget worth out of 100 sets. So be that what it may, I just think this is a crazy idea that didn't need to be executed, but it was executed incredibly well and will probably win Toy of the Year. But it's so bizarre that Pram made the set. They could have done Grogu on his own for 30 and that would have gone like hotcakes, but no, we did Pram. Okay, whatever. Just, it's fine. But I do like the shaping. They've done an incredible job with that Pram, which is not surprising. It's just who's buying this. Okay, mini scale. I continue to love the mini scale Starship line. I haven't bought any of them, but I admire them from the far. I think they work really well on shelves, and I love the original mini scale line back in 2010, which was just a Millennium Falcon and a Star Destroyer. Yeah. But they continue to be great. The Home Leon, specifically, I think is the standout this time around. It looks great, and the price isn't as egregious as I would have expected, considering, just the normal Star Wars tax. I don't want to talk about the Acclimator. I hope that speaks volumes. I hope it really does. But the home one looks fantastic, and I really think that makes a great addition to the Starship collection alongside Invisible Hand and the Star Destroyer and the other one from last year that I'm now stumbling and forgetting the name of. Two superheroes, couple here actually, more than I thought. The Tumbler from DC. Oh, yes. I'm so glad we finally have a Heath Ledger Joker not locked behind a huge tumbler. Been waiting for that figure for ages, just because it's a great figure. This one, of course, is a downgrade, but it's fine. I'll live, I'll manage. Maybe this will come in a magazine foil pack and save me from having to buy the set, though, because the set itself is egregious. I've wanted a tumbler for a while, because obviously I do like the Nolan trilogy, and I like having like one representation of each. And I was almost tempted by the Scarecrow one, but boy, wish I had, because although I don't like the figures in that set, the tumbler was bigger, the tumbler was bulkier, the tumbler was cheaper. Yeah, no, this is a 50% sale, even with Heath Ledger and the Harvey Dent figure as well. But yeah, whoa, one of the most egregious inflation pieces for sure. But I do still like it. I think it's been executed well. I won't buy it at full price though. But that being said, I'm really glad we've got these figures again, because they were so overdue. We needed them. We really did need them. On the Marvel side, my more preferred side, we have Iron Man vs. Ultron. I could not care less that this is our third Iron Man mech. The second Iron Man mech was my favourite, but that Ultron figure is amazing. I can't wait to get my hands on that. So that will either be through magazine foil bags, or maybe I'll just bricklink him if he's about a £2 figure. But I love how that looks. I've been wanting Ultron to come back for so long. I know we had Mark 1 in the tower. Don't worry, we'll be talking about the tower soon. But I really wanted more Ultron. I need more Age of Ultron sets. It's one of my favourite of the Avenger movies, which I know is an unpopular opinion, but I really don't want to buy that mech for him, but I do really like how Ultron looks. We also have the Marvel logo on here, not out of interest from me, but out of being underrated. I think this is an incredibly cool idea. It's so logical. It makes sense. People already buy the block logo as like a lamp, so yeah, it makes sense to have the Marvel logo here, but it's buildable. It looks like a really fun build, and then adding in the play feature. I do think it's weird that it's not 6 figures. I know 5 works better with the shaping of it, but come on, the Hawkeye slander's a little bit far, even for my taste, and I get on board that train. But yeah, I think it looks great, and I think it's a well-deserving set for its price and its point. So yeah, it's all good there. Harry Potter then, Dueling Club is my standout from the wave. It's small, it's cute, it's got good figures. I like the play feature. It feels like a perfect £15-10 set, and I love that for it. It's just, yeah, I have no notes. It's exactly the kind of thing that I can see myself attempting to make and doing an awful job at. But yeah, I love that concept. I will always support that concept, and I think it looks fantastic. Of course, it can connect to Big Hogwarts. I am not on board with this new Big Hogwarts system. It's far too expensive, especially with the rumour for the Great Tower being $250. Oh dear, this Hogwarts system is crazy. I am perfectly happy with my playscale ones and then the microscale one. I still really love that 2021 to 2022 setup. I thought that was delightful, or 2023 even. I really liked the modularity of the 20th anniversary rooms. A lot of fun. Okay. Also, though, I do want to talk about the flying lessons. I really love how this tower looks. I know it has like a rearrangeable function where it can like sort of close up to make a different shape. And obviously, this is mostly designed to fit in with the grandest Hogwarts ever. But I do like it as a standalone. I think it's a nice tan block, and I'm pretty pleased with it. Interior is a little disappointing, but I really like the flying lesson block. Although I do prefer the other one from 20th anniversary. But I do like this one a lot too. I think it has a lot of positives. From Animal Crossing, only one set makes the list this time. This is Stargazing with Celeste. Again, it's that small set bias. I just think it's very sweet. Having the giant moon, it's all very cute and sort of ethereal, and I really like how it turned out. So fine by me for Celeste Stargazing to end up in my basket. And then we are back to a 2024 set with the Botanical Garden, the big one. I have the Friends one. I love the Friends one. I thought that because I love the Friends one, I wouldn't need this one. Oh, but it's perfect. Anyone that says that this is supposed to fit on a modular street is... they're not being silly. They're allowed to have that opinion, but they're wrong. Objectively, I think I am being tongue-in-cheek here. I'm being a bit jokey. But botanical gardens need to have space around them. Put it separately or put it in your modular city, but just build a half base plate of park in front of it. You know, the people that want to put this in a city have the space to add just a little bit of more room around it and make it feel like a proper like estate, which is just perfect. And it looks so beautiful. The architecture's been captured so well. I'm a big fan of Kew Gardens because, you know, UK, and I think it's a beautiful place. So seeing something here that so clearly pays homage to it, but also just so many beautiful plant species inside and just looks so great. It's a must-have. I'll be buying it. I like the fact that I've got the Friends one, and with a little bit of modification, maybe they can be a palm house and then have my little Friends one be a temperate house or something as well. It's a lot of fun. I really didn't expect to love the set so much, but I do. Another one that I think's gone underrated is the Spanish Fountain Garden. This is a sub-theme that no one needed to continue from the Tranquil Garden, which was a smash hit. I don't think this one will sell as well, but I do still really like a lot of the work that was put into it. I like the tiling patterns. I like the removability and modularity. Wasn't sure how they were going to carry that over, and I think they did an excellent job having the entire beds be removable. I bet the build is a lot of fun for this one, although unfortunately I do just believe it's niche. And it's because of that I wanted to highlight it, because I think if you're looking for a good Lego build, this is one of the best ones for under 100 at the moment, I think. But I don't know. I haven't built it. And then from Friends, only one set standing out from the January wave, although I'm not worried. Friends summer usually hits really hard. It's the Bee Garden. It's not so much for the house. I really couldn't care less. I think it's a nice house, but it's fine. All the figures, actually, I think it is the garden here that really sells it. It's sort of the most in-depth garden build, and obviously we know this has been designed with tying the history to the apiaries and stuff. But what really got me was those hexagonal planter beds. I really love those, and I think they're fantastic. From Mario Kart, or Mario in general, but it's just Mario Kart this time around, I'm not going to tell you. Oh no, I am. I'm buying the standard sets, the DK set and the baby set as soon as possible, and I'll get Yoshi on sale. If you want my full thoughts and opinions, I made already like a 20-minute video on it a couple of weeks ago that you can go and check out. Now, that's everything I want to talk about from 2025, but we're still not quite done yet, because there's a couple of 2024 sets I still want to touch on. But I have to bear 5 things in mind going into 2025 that are going to determine my purchasing decisions and what ones I end up picking up. Now, this is less objective, and this is more just telling you where my thought process is at, which I realize no one cares about, so feel free to leave if you want. But yeah, these are the 5 things that I'm considering in my Lego purchasing in 2025. Real Zelda jump scare. Probably not going to happen, but there is always a chance that a second Lego Zelda set shows up in the second half of 2025. Now, if you want to know my predictions for this, or whether I think we're actually going to get a set in 2025, spoiler alert, I don't. I will be putting up a video on the first week of January. I think first Friday in January. I believe I'm talking about that. But yeah, I don't think it's happening. But I do need to be prepared just in case I have to spontaneously drop money on a new pre-order. Secondly, convention builds. I plan on doing a lot more conventions in 2025, about as many as I can do, which isn't that many, but maybe about 5 in the year, hopefully. But this requires me to build new builds. I mean, I could take the same builds to each convention, but that's boring for me. And obviously, if people are going to multiple conventions, it's just sad. So I always like to keep the display evolving. And I have a couple of big ones lined up, specifically the Imprisoned and the Champions Art. The Champions Art being the priority. And if I'm doing those, that's going to cost a lot of money, because the Champions Art is going to cost me like 200 quid, which is an entire big set. So I have to bear that in mind as well, because that's going to change out on what I can buy. Number 3, I want to retire another one of a modular or another retired set this year. Now, that could be the museum, the jazz quartet, not jazz quartet, the jazz club, or the Tudor Corner. Jazz Quartet is another set, but Jazz Quarter corner, or Tudor corner, or even a retired modular Chinese New Year set such as Spring Lantern Festival, Tower Bridge, or Helm's Deep. Anything on my whiteware retired list. I did a great job of that in 2024, and I want to keep that momentum going to continue picking stuff up. If you want to know what I picked up in 2024, I got it before it retired, but it was Mos Eisley and the 2018 Bugatti, which I got an amazing deal on from Technic. I never thought I wanted, I just knew I wanted one Technic supercar, and I chose the Bugatti. I also need to bear in mind, number 4 of my 5 things, Pac-Man and the Lighthouse are probably retiring. I don't actually know, I haven't checked. Are probably retiring at the end of 2025. I want both of those ideally. Pac-Man is the bigger priority, but hopefully the Lighthouse too. So we'll see how it goes. But I've got to bear in mind that if stuff's retiring, I've got to pick them up. Speaking of, if I choose, I do want the Jazz Club. That will also be retiring. Although I think I could skip Jazz Club, to be honest, and just go for Museum. Anyway, we'll see. And then number 5, the Avengers Tower has come back to haunt me. I thought I was going to be able to skip it, but I just keep finding reasons to love that set, and no one wants to sell it for cheaper on eBay, so unless that changes in the next year, I need to buy that off lego.com at the end of next year. So that will be my Black Friday purchase next year, although that could very easily change, as we've seen this list already altered with the Renegade's appearance, and we don't know what's coming in the summer. I know there's the Ideas Prize Machine. K2SO sounds interesting, although as much as I've loved almost all of these Star Wars buildable characters, I am yet to buy the Porg, Probe Droid, Droidica, all of which I loved. Who knows? I'm just a disaster, really, let's be honest. But I do not want to let Avengers Tower retire. I think it looks really, really imposing and stunning. I love the Sanctum. Imagine all those figures. Yes, as I've been building up my Marvel collection, I will now have duplicates, which is before most of the figures in the tower I wouldn't have had any of. But now that I bought the small Leviathan, I'm going to have an extra Cap, and of course I'm going to have extra Iron Man and stuff, which is fine. Still, most of them are unique, and I really want that vision too. But I just think the model is so spectacular from the outside that it's just worth it. And I do plan on buying some more Marvel stuff as well. So we'll see. As for the 2024, or really just in general sets that are currently still on the market that I'm also still eyeing up, Medieval Town Square. Lion Knight's Castle recently made its way into my collection. I'll be building that over the winter period. And naturally, I'm going to want the Medieval Town Square as a follow-up. Although when I buy it, I do want to modify it. I want to make it back into the leaked version. So that will be a fun video that hopefully I'll get around to. Although like any of these non-Zelda projects, because of buying stuff for conventions, I never get to buy the parts to do these other builds, like the It's a Small Clock Tower, the modification for Medieval Town Square, the modification for my Adventurers Club, which is a police station conversion, the parts needed for my Ice Planet build, or my city supermarket, or the Friends restaurant conversion, and there's another one that I can't quite remember. But anyway, all these parts for these projects that just don't get to happen. We literally talked about it earlier in this video. What was it I was converting? Oh, the Moobloom House from Rebrickable. That was another one I wanted to do. All these other projects that I just have not yet been able to justify putting budget into, that are all on a list and all want to do. But either way, Medieval Town Square is great. I still prefer the leaked version. I still stand by that, but I do love the set, and I think it looks great, especially once you have Lion Knight's Castle like I do now. So I'm falling in the medieval hole ever so slowly, although Redux Space, still my place to be. Himeji Castle's architecture, I still think this one's incredibly underrated, and I kind of would like it, although it's really not a priority for me. The End Ship we've already talked about. The Lighthouse I've also mentioned. I love that feature. It looks great. I love the old fishing store already, so it fits in really well. Nightmare Before Christmas. I thought I was going to be able to skip this set, because I already have Jack and Sally, and I prefer the 2019 minifigure series components because I'm not a huge fan of the Avatar legs, and I don't think Jack needed them. But I thought I was just going to buy Spiral Hill off eBay and just be settled and just say, I want that section and that's it. But I like the rest of the set. I think I should just buy the whole thing at this point. The Macaws are. I've already missed my opportunity on this one because I'm pretty sure it's retiring, but I just really like this set. I just think it's incredibly underrated and deserves a lot more attention. I just don't have a place to display it. I've nearly bought it like 3 times because I don't have a way to wall mount it in my current setup. It wouldn't be worth it. So I don't imagine it's going to go up on the aftermarket, so it'll probably be fine. The Milky Way art set, also another great one. Probably won't buy it, but I just think it deserves some love. The Technic and City garbage trucks from 2023 and 24 respectively. I really like the functions in the Technic, but I really like the looks on the City, and both of them are £5 too expensive, which is why I haven't bought them yet. We'll see. Maybe I'll get one of them as an impulse, but at the moment it looks like both of them I'm missing out on. We also have the Ore from Technic. I love this one. This one I won't let retire. It's had some pretty good discounts, so I'll probably be buying that one in 2025. Castle B&B will probably end up slipping. I do love the set a lot, but it's not like Botanical Gardens level for Friends for me, so I think it would be better for me to just save my money elsewhere and admire this one from afar, similar to what I did with the 2019 La Laconda restaurant, which I ended up modding anyway. But I do really love this set a lot, and I'm so pleased that it gave us sand blue roofs in the castle castle turreting. It's great. Sightseeing bus. This will be an impulse buy whenever it goes on like 40% sale next year. So that will be one that I eventually buy, I think, because I just like the red double decker. The city space rover is just, again, I really like the grunge of this vehicle. I like it a lot. I said this before. I still need to buy it though, which means it will probably get missed, but we'll see. Maybe I'll pick it up next year. Bowser's muscle car and the Bowser train. The train I will 100% be buying. I love that thing. And the muscle car is still sort of warming on me. I just don't need Bowser, so if I could find a way to buy the car without Bowser, although I do like the new Bowser design, and would it really be that bad to have two Bowsers? I want it for the Mario Kart stuff, and it's a fantastic set that I just put off because I don't need a second Bowser, but I like the car too much to miss out on, and it's had some really good sales here in the UK, so I'll buy it soon enough. The Dark Falcon is not also something I don't want to skip. I just think this is so silly, and I don't have a Falcon, and I love the concept, and the figures are so cool. Having a Darth Jar Jar, which really isn't actually that special, but the white Jedi Vader is probably my standout. I did watch the Rebuild the Galaxy special. It was alright. It was exactly what I expected, right? It's just a little fun, but whatever. We also have the AT-AT, the UCS one, that is also retired and gone forever, but I really wish we could have gotten that one. If the channel, I said to myself, if the channel had been monetized and earned enough, which it didn't and is also not, so it doesn't matter, I would have used the channel money to buy the UCS AT-AT because I wanted to spend that on, or when it eventually starts happening, spend it on something that I wouldn't be able to buy myself otherwise. And I could never justify spending my real money on that UCS AT-AT just to have Funny Dog in the corner. So shame I've missed it. Maybe one day I'll pick up a used copy for less than retail, but I will not pay aftermarket prices for it. And it's a beautiful, beautiful model. Gringotts and Diagon Alley from Harry Potter are both still floating around, although not as high priority as the Avengers Tower, so both will probably get skipped. It's a shame. I love that Ukrainian Iron Belly. I really wish it could have been in a set on its own. And I do actually like the Gringotts set and the Diagon Alley sets, and I do love the modular compatibility. But again, unless I can get them for cheaper than retail on, say, eBay, then I'm really not interested in paying $400 for them each, basically. And then Nook's Cranny and Isabel's House, they are still both floating around. The discounts just never seem to go deep enough for me on these Animal Crossing sets, because I don't know, I just don't want to pay full price for them because I'm not huge into the games, but I really want those Isabel and Tom Nook figures, which I imagine is what everyone wants them for. And I do really like the building style for Animal Crossing. I think it was really well executed. I absolutely loved Bunny's Outdoors Adventures from the first wave. So I don't know, I'm torn, but I still want to get one of them before they retire, but we'll see how it goes. But that's everything to talk about. I've got a lot to consider, and it looks like it's going to be a very expensive year, especially as we're only in January. But that's the way it goes. Most of the stuff on this list I won't end up buying, and I will be fine with that. But there's a couple of really big key ones that I'm super looking forward to. Really, as far as day one stuff goes, it's only really the Renegade, I think. But I'll pick up my CMFs, and then probably, I don't know, I'm still torn on the botanical collection, so we'll see how they go, but I will get the Gentleman very soon. As far as first actual sets go, it will be the End Ship from Minecraft, and then after that, I will be jumping into saving for convention builds, at least for a little bit, with hopefully my Black Friday purchase of 2025 being the Avengers Tower, unless, of course, they come out with another set. And of course, any Zelda sets I'll buy day one, but I really don't think we're getting any next year. But more on that in a couple of weeks. Come back next Friday for the last custom set of the year. It's a long anticipated one. If anyone's still here, thank you for watching as always, and I hope you appreciated this incredibly biased look at the best and most underrated sets of 2025 and also 2024. Really, it's just an excuse for me to ramble about Lego, and let me know what sets you're interested in buying or not interested in buying down below in the comments, and have a wonderful rest of your week. Bye bye.